And it's Friday and hitting the roads. Not quite sure exactly where the old van, it's not the old van, the van will end up tonight, but that's part of the appeal and part of the fun. As long as it's on the road going out of town. Last couple of weekends it was primarily city camping, first in Chemainus, then on the mainland of Vancouver, now back in the backcountry. Some of the reality of the logging that goes on. Might have been even a little bit of a fire here. I seen some burn, but I don't know either way. It has almost a spooky beauty to it, doesn't it? So there you have it, guys. Just getting all set up. When you're traveling, you have to put things away so they don't go flying when you're going over all those bumps. One goes over when you're coming up in the backcountry. There's lots of potholes and different things, so you have to put everything away, and then when you get to where you're going to be camping out, you can start taking things out. So that's what I do. You start putting all the food cans away that could be hazardous as much as I possibly can, and start taking out the food. There's always food on board. Things are always left like you would in any kitchen, but every trip one has to refresh some things because things are used, including toilet paper. But there's lots of toilet paper where the toilet is stored, but always keep one outside for whatever purposes so you can grab it at a moment's notice. Coffee. Gotta have my coffee. I have one soon. And just little bits and pieces. So I'm just going to spend the rest of the time putting away groceries into the fridges and going back out to start the campfire and sit down with a hot drink and figure out what's for dinner.
All of Thomas Farriner's bakery is now on fire, and the homes of the blacksmith and glazier who live next door are also starting to catch light. The blaze that started at a pudding-laden bakery would cause unimaginable damage right across the city, affecting tens of thousands of Londoners. In the 17th century, many of the city's walls were made using a technique called what?
It's morning, so just having a coffee and waiting for breakfast, I guess, to get going. But the river has never stopped. That's a silly thing to say. Of course the river never stops, but it's just amazing to take off the window covering just to see it flowing just like it was the day before. So, getting ready to start the day. Cheers and good morning. Welcome to Saturday morning of my van life. And this morning I got up and I had a really interesting thought and I wanted to share with you. That thought of when you wake up, one of the first things you think of is all the things that you have to do for the day. And when I got up this morning, it's like, oh, this, that, and the other thing. And it just sort of took me a couple of seconds to recognize there's nothing that I have to do. There's nowhere to go. I'm here. I'm in the middle of all of this. The forest up island on Vancouver Island, and there is the river. I've shown you pictures of the river already, and you might even be able to hear it. It's right there. But it's interesting how programmed we are to just go into go mode the minute we open our eyes, isn't it? And on the weekends when I'm here in places like this, it takes me but a moment to recognize there's nothing for me to do. There's nothing for me to get to or to answer or to get back to any about there's no phone. The internet's out up here. So it's a nice feeling, and it takes time to recognize that and to appreciate it. The first couple of times it was like, I'm disconnected. But now it's like, oh, good, I'm disconnected. I have no, I'm not responsible for getting back to anybody or anybody getting back to me at this time because I'm unreachable. So I'm just going to take this morning and go with the flow, just like the river. Row, row, row one's boat gently, gently, gently down the stream. So that's what my Saturday morning is, gently down the stream. Have a wonderful morning wherever you happen to be. And just remember that. Try to find moments either in your day or your week where you can just unplug and go with your flow. not a bad way to spend a Saturday morning. Sure beats housework and running around at the grocery store. Although, when I get back, I have to do that too. But it's a nice time out. This is what a time out is all about. It's detaching, and I think about things like happiness. You know, it wasn't long ago where happiness was quite elusive to me. I was sick. I was getting sick all the time, ended up in the hospital many, many times, way too often, as far as I was concerned. And the doctors really couldn't find anything wrong with me. My blood pressure was always spiking, and I'd been through every machine, every test, everything known to mankind, and everything came out perfect, except for that one thing, and there was no indication as to why. And we talk about stress, stress and anxiety, and I had to go deep and try to find that well of stress that everyone said that I was having, and I couldn't put my mind on what stress I was having. Now, we live in a stressful world. Everybody has some form of stress. It's not about trying to be stress-free. Maybe I wasn't managing my stress, and I wasn't aware of that. Maybe I didn't want to admit that I had stress, or there was something that was really deeply bothering me, and I sort of pushed it off to the side and covered it up with a series of busy tasks and projects and so forth. And I think after a while, those things that we run from or hide from or ignore eventually catches up with us. There is a book called The Body Keeps the Score by a noted, I believe, psychologist and neuroscientist. Don't quote me. I think his name is Bessel van der Kolk. And he talks about this. And it's a very somatic approach to releasing stress and anxiety and pressure off yourself, because we do absorb the things that happen in our life, the negativity and the injustices, all of it we internalize. We might put on our makeup and comb our hair and go out and do all the things expected of us in our life, but our body indeed does keep the score. And not until one day you recognize that you just can't put a finger on this deep-seated, low-grade, either anxiety, depression, or unsettledness, and your body starts to shut down. Some people might go through things like autoimmune issues, or high blood pressure, or any type of body issue, even cancer. But we have to go in. It's inside of us. We have to do that deep dive and find out why. Ask the questions. And that's easier said than done, I know. Trust me, it wasn't easy for me either, but I had to get to that place through a lot of tears, through a lot of journaling, through a lot of talking, through a lot of walking, through a lot of exercise, through a lot of trusting the energy in me to release these things, either through somatic movement or somatic conversation, or a mixture of both. We have 4 pillars in our lives. There's our mindset, and our spirituality, and our health. And we ignore these things. I think I only hit 3. I'm trying to figure out the 4th in case you're counting. But it's 4 pillars. It's like a table. If one of the legs on the table is short, wobbly, or non-existent, everything slides right off, and we've experienced that, where things are just sliding off our table, quote unquote. And you have to stop and ask why. A lot of people are working on somatic stuff, and that's fine, but it doesn't quite get to the heart of things. A lot of it is in our heart, it's in our soul, it's in our DNA, and until we can get it rooted out of us, all this other stuff we're trying to go and do and be the best and hustle and be successful, it's just all outer stuff again. It's not getting to the heart and soul of things. So that's why I'm out here. It's to continually excavate and move out. I'm always doing the work. Yes, I work with other people, but I'm first doing the work on myself. And I invite you to do the same. Getting ready to get the ribs out the door and onto the fire. Now these were done in an Instapot. Let me see if I can bring it closer for you. No use you trying to see it when it's right here. So I created a brown sugar rub, and in it went into the Instapot to do the initial cooking. And so you can see the rub, brown sugar rub here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just let them sit for a little while longer. The fire is smoldering nicely, heating up to where it needs to be to get these finished up. And then I will do I'll rub it again with not the rub, but with barbecue sauce, and put it on the fire, and then do what I have to do there, okay? Now, believe it or not, I didn't bring the brush to do this properly, so I'm just Jim squeaking it the best I can right now. It's all good. Just get it smothered in best I can. Now, I usually have a recipe for a really good sauce that I do. I buy a favorite barbecue sauce, pour it in the pot, and then I season it up. But I wasn't that prepared this time, not sure why. But you know what? I am certain this is still going to taste superb, regardless. That smoky barbecue campfire thing will finish this up just nicely. You do what you have to do when you're out in the backcountry, people. You can't be overly fussy. As long as the flavor is there, that's all I care about. And I know it's there because that rub is beautifully prepared. I can just imagine what this is going to be like on the campfire. Okay, so here we go, right before it hits the fire. I'll put it right on there. Take the powder off. So this is what it looks like, and I have to tell you, nothing tastes better than ribs in the great outdoors. And I'm going to take the camera off because you don't want to see what's going to happen next. This is some good eating in the great outdoors. So I'm taking you in to see the big tree, the big spruce tree. the biggest one on the island apparently, and it's hidden behind there. And every time I come, I don't know if you can see the outline of it way back there, but every time I visit it, it's like I get that feeling, that really shaky feeling. I'm getting used to it now, but come on, let's go. It's so fun. So fun doing this kind of stuff. Finding the little secrets hidden away. Most people will just go screaming by these things because they don't know it's hidden. I think they're getting better with signs now that they tell you that there are things hidden in the forest, but I just like that. I just like my curiosity. I like where my curiosity leads. What about you? But this is Harris Creek. And they've got some really interesting mossy trees out here. But let's go. I love the ferns, don't you? The color of these ferns are just amazing. Especially at this time of year. And when they come back to life in the springtime, they just poof, open like umbrellas. Now this isn't a big tree, this is just a tree. Because I'm going on the trail here. This is a sort of a little wreck spot. Close to the road. But again, the traffic just goes screaming by these places. Looks so ancient, doesn't it? And the mossiness on the trees, just amazing. Ooh, there's the big tree. Still really can't capture it. It's very difficult to capture. You really have to be here, but it's just sort of hidden back here. Way up there. So here it is. This is the base of the big tree, and it's even been, the base of it's been corralled just to protect the roots. There it is. And I'm going to try and inch up, but even this video doesn't do it justice. It's just very hard to capture the enormity and the immensity of this thing. You have to be here. And it just sort of disappears up there. You just really can't capture it. But it's the biggest one around. And apparently there are other kind of big trees like that in the area that I'm going to go see if I can find them. Hopefully I'll be able to capture one or two. But even that's a nice Sunday drive, trying to find the big trees. There's a map of the trails to find a couple of them. But it's just so how high this thing goes, and it's the biggest one here. So it's like this gentle giant hiding amongst the little trees. That's almost a teaching how we hide amongst the smaller of those amongst us. Trying to keep hidden, keep our light hidden, keep our genius hidden. And there's Harris Creek. I was just camping next to Harris Creek down the way, so it all comes floating through here. Getting the BRMB, which is the Backroad Map Book, and the app, this is the app, it's really helpful to take you through some of these places in the backcountry here, because it's easy to get lost, no idea where you're going. And this is the one for British Columbia. Every region has one. So the big map book, you can get it at places like Canadian Tire if you're in Canada, or bookstores, or wherever they sell map books where you are. And the app, I believe you have to also pay for the app, but it's worth every dime. And one of the beautiful things about having this is that you can pinpoint places. You discover places and you can pinpoint them, so you can find them again when you want to get back to that location. So it's BRMB. Check it out. Okay, trying to get over to see that big tree over there, but got to go down through this sort of ravine area, and it's kind of slippery. So doing the best I can. Whoa. Whoa. there's the van up there. Whew. Very interesting area. Oh. Oh, you wouldn't believe. It just seems so ancient back here. Okay, I'm going to show you. And it seems like some sort of wind damage happened here, or just maybe old rot, and things fell down. There's a sign that says no camping, overhead danger. So I'm on the other side of this barrier here where some trees have fallen down. And yeah, it just looks so ancient back here. Look at the mossiness on these trees. So no doubt this used to be a campground and a wreck site, but not anymore. It's danger, danger. So maybe I shouldn't be here either. Because if these things are coming down like that, like, I mean, look at this big thing that just came down. Ancient. My goodness. Look at the debris here. So maybe on some windy days, that's when these things come tumbling down. I know that's what happened at Cathedral Grove, and that's another place I'm going to take you one day. That's another fascinating, fascinating place. But it's still worth seeing. You don't get to see this kind of thing all the time. That's why getting out into the backcountry really is worth it. You know, you really have to make an effort to get out here. It's not easy. The roads, these logging roads, are not easy. But if you can do it, you're going to see some things. Okay, guys, I was wrong. The tree is still alive, apparently, because if I go up this way, you'll see right there, coming up alongside it, which is still part of that tree, all the way up there. Holy, if that thing comes down, I don't know. But it's still part of that system, that tree system. See it? And it's connected over here. It's connected right there. Look at that. Look at this monster. Just a monster. Whew. Looks like something you'd see in Jurassic Park. Wonder how old this thing is. You don't want to be around these parts when it's windy out, that's for sure. There's no wind today, so it's relatively safe being here. And there we are, right next to that old tree. I just love the colors of these things. It's beautiful. And the feel of them. Almost feels like my hair. Looks like somebody was camping here recently. I don't know how they got over here unless they just pulled their stuff over. But I don't think there's any direct road in here because this tree has fallen down. So it might have happened recently. I don't know. But in the summertime, this must be a happening little beach area. Water is very clear. You can see right to the bottom. There's probably some good fishing. That's another thing I have to try, fishing. Imagine Pamela, MentorPaminaVan, fishing. Wow. I'm even surprised myself on that one, but I'm keen. So there you have it. Another wonderful weekend in the backcountry of Vancouver Island. Rainforest all the way, mountains, ocean, sunshine, rain, fog, rivers, and big giant trees as far as the eye can see. They're all big to me. And of course, the gentle giants that just took my breath away. Thank you once again for joining me on a road trip that was both restful and peaceful and incredibly inspiring.